Okay, so now we are going to learn about cloning in Java. Okay, so basic idea behind a cloning is, let us assume if you are already having a variable which having a desired value that you want to assign to another variable. So usually what you used to do, you just used to reassign, or you can just uh, try to clone this one, right? Clone that variable so that you don't have to again assign the value. Okay, we'll see with the example, and then we can better visualize. So normally when we write a Java program, what we used to do, let us have a variable called int a equal to 10. Okay, now if I do like this, int b equal to int a, so what I am doing here, so I am here creating copy of what? Copy of a, right? Right. Int c equal to a. So how many copies we created for a? Three copies. A is itself and B and C, right? So this is a cloning. Okay, it's a pretty straightforward when you are having a primitive data type. So which type of data type it is? This one is primitive data type. So basically what happened, when you want to create the copy of primitive variable, then you can use assignment operator. Which is assignment operator? This one is a assignment operator, right? Okay. But what happened? Let us assume I have created a copy of A, B, and A, B and C is a copy of A. Let us assume now I have make A equal to 15. Now what is the value of B and C?
It will be 10 only, right? Because after assigning the C and B only, again we are reassigning A.
Yes, correct. So what happened here? When we are using equal to operator, right? So in primitive data type, it will just create a separate copy of each values. Each like this is separate, this is separate. Just copy the value to this variable. So if you modify A again, B will remain 10, C will remain 10. Okay. So if you see with the example, let us assume this is A, which is 10 now, and this is B, which is 10 now because of we have copied A value into B. Okay. So now I've been there, I have modified A to 15, but B is still 10, right? So this is the behavior with when we are doing a cloning with equal to operator, and when we are performing this cloning on primitive data type, right? Okay, now we'll see the same example in the case of reference. Okay, so let us be having a student class. We are taking a student, so I'm take a student class. Just remember that property that I already have created. So I have created Ram and new a student. Here I pass Ram. I pass age 33. Okay. So now, okay. So now what I will do is I will use equal to operator to create a copy. Ram1 equal to Ram. Clear? So now I have two variables, Ram1 and Ram. Clear? So let me create this. Ram1 and Ram. Okay. So just take an example of this. 1 second. Ram2. Ram1 and Ram2. Okay. Okay. So now we have two variables, but when we are doing this equal to, right, in reference type, right, this is a reference type, right? So what will happen? So basically let's assume this is pointing to, this one is pointing to address. Let us assume this is the address, it's pointing to where we have actually 6895. This is a memory address. Now it's have two properties. one Ram, second is age. So now Ram 1, okay, 1 second, Ram 1 pointing to this address. When you do Ram 1, when Ram 2 equal to Ram 1, so what happened? Ram 2 also start pointing to this. This is the case when you're using equals to operator to create a copy of existing object. Okay. So in this case, what happened? Let's assume now Ram 2 modify. What Ram 2 did is Ram 2 dot name equal to SHAYAM. So what happened? So this value will get modified here. Okay. And this will become SHYAM. So understand what is happening here? Clear? So same equal to operator which helping us to create a clone in primitive data type. It's not helping here, right? Basically it's pointing to the same copy, right? So it's like a two different reference variable pointing to the same memory address. If one modify this, if RAM1 will modify name or age, it will get reflected to other. So this is not a copy, right? It's not a clone. What is the means of clone? Clone means two separate entity, right? So if you harm one, it will not affect others. If you change any property in one, it will not affect to other. So this is called cloning. So till now clear to you all?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay. Now there might be a question arise, what is the need of cloning, right? So let's assume you are having a object which is having 100 properties, right? You want to create a second object with all this with 99 properties which is similar to the first object. Only one properties you want to change. So what you will do? You will first clone that and then you will modify one properties, right? In that way you will save time, you will save piece of code also. That is the one use case. Second use case, let's assume if you want to do certain manipulation, right, on the object, and you also want to keep a state of the object so that later after manipulation you want to compare, right? In that case also cloning is helpful. Okay, so in future you will come to know that the benefit of cloning, but right now we just remember whatever I said, and we'll anyhow when we are developing application anyhow we'll use all this stuff, so we'll see. Okay, so the point is when you are using assignment operator to create a copy of reference variable, then the address of existing object will be copied to the reference variable as I demonstrated here, right? Which is clear to you all, right? And when we do modification with the object data using copy reference variable, then what is happening? Then original object also will be modified or getting affected, right? Because both the reference are pointing to the same memory address, right? So basic conclusion we'll get with this operator, we cannot create clone of reference type. Clear? So what we'll do, use cloning to create a clone of the object. If someone asks what is cloning, so it's pretty straightforward, you can all answer. Cloning is a process of creating a copy of existing object. Clear to you all? So if someone asks what is cloning, you can answer. And why we cannot use directly equal to operator on reference variable, that also you can answer. If anything need to be explained till now, I will do that if you have any doubt. Otherwise, I will proceed further with clone method. So basic, why you are learning cloning? Because clone method come under object class and I have to cover it. And that is the reason we are learning cloning right away. Okay. Any question? No question, right? Kritika, Ponita, any question? No, right?
No.
No, Abhinav.
Okay. So now we are going to learn about this method. Okay, this method is going to help us to create equal to will not help us to create a clone of reference type. Which method? Which is going to help us? Clone method is going to help us to create a clone of reference type. So what is the method name? So method name is protected. Protected is modifier. You all know about protected, right? Native.
Yes.
Native is a keyword. We'll learn about that. It's not that much important. So we have not. So this is throws. That we'll learn what is throws. And exception is clone not supported. Okay. So this is the method name. Okay. This is the method name. This one clone. So clone is a method which is throwing exception clone not supported. There is no space. And modifier is protected. Protected means only subclass, right? Subclass can access this method. So first you have to be a subclass. Subclass of what we'll learn. And then there is a class. There is a return type. What it's returning? It's returning object. So object is a super type. So anything it will return, it will get mapped, right? So it's clear. If someone asks which method we are going to use, what is the return type, they will say a clone method we are going to use. It's take no argument. There is no argument. Its return type is object. So protected in nature. Okay. So what do you do? So the first thing, you can create the copy of existing object by invoking clone method of object class. Clone method is defined as protected in object class. So why it's defined as protected? So the outside of Java lang package, right? We can extend, we can implement and we can use clone method. What we can implement, we'll learn, right? Okay. So people ask, is there all the Java classes that we define is by default clonable? No. By default, not a single Java class is clonable. You have to make it clonable. So how will make it clonable? So there's an interface called cloneable. The spelling is like CLONEABLE. So this is marker interface. Which type of interface it is? This is marker interface. So this interface doesn't have any implementation. Okay. So first you have to first you have to implement this interface and then you have to override clone method. And then you can perform cloning, right? Okay. And then we learn about checked exception and all while doing the implementation. Okay. Let's assume, just a point. Let's assume you are having a student class and you overrided clone method. Okay, you override it, but you have not implemented cloneable. Okay, you have not implemented cloneable interface. Let's assume I have a class called class X. So it's have to implement which one? Cloneable. And then you have to override this method clone. And then you write implementation here. Okay. If you not implement this method, you directly override, you will get exception. The exception name is clone not supported exception. Who will throw that exception? JVM will throw the exception. It is checked exception. Okay. So clone not supported exception is, I think, checked exception. Okay. So always remember. So what you have to, what points and all you have to remember? First thing, by default, all Java classes are not cloneable. To make it cloneable, you have to override cloneable interface. Sorry, you have to implement cloneable interface. You have to override clone method, which return type is object, which is protected in nature, which belong to object class. Always remember where it's belong to the object class. Which interface you have to implement? Clonable interface. Which type of interface is marker interface, right? If you not implement marker interface clonable and you just override that method, so what your clone method will throw? It will throw clone not supported exception. Which type of exception it is? It is a checked exception. Clear to you all? Okay. Now, in Java, we are having two type of cloning. Two type of. First one is shallow. Second one is deep cloning. Okay. Okay. Now, shallow cloning and deep cloning. So mostly they will not ask you much question about shallow cloning. It's pretty straightforward implementation. They will ask you question from deep cloning. Okay. First we have to learn shallow cloning. So what is shallow cloning? I will just explain with an image and then we'll do a coding. Okay. So shallow cloning, let's take an example of RAM1, RAM1 and here RAM2. Okay. No, we will not take that example. Okay, which will not going to help us. First, we'll write a code and then I will explain you here. Okay, what is happening? Okay, my ID is visible.
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay, so now you guys have to pretty careful here. Like you have to be more focused here. Okay, and then you can understand. So let assume I will take three classes. Okay, I will take A. Intentionally, I'm taking this, so it's easy to remember. And then I have taken class B. Okay. Okay. Now let us have two classes. Now I have class A and class B. Class A have a property called int int value. Okay. And then class have int phone number or any let us we'll take a string or something. Address kind of thing, anything. So let me create a constructor. Okay. Here class B should be not address. Let me take something which is value, and here name. Name. Okay, fine. Let me create the constructor for this. Okay. Let me generate the constructor for this as well. Here. So now I have two classes. Okay. Okay. So first rule to forget about B right now. Okay. First focus on A. So let's assume I want to make this one clonable. Okay, so what I have to do? The first thing I have to override. Sorry, I have to implement. 1 second. I have to implement clonable. I implemented that. And the second thing, what I have to do? I have to override this clone method. Okay. So when you override this clone method, you don't have to do anything. If you are going with what I said, there are two type of cloning. One is deep cloning, another one is shallow cloning. So right now we are doing shallow cloning, right? Shallow cloning means default implementation. What is the default? Super dot clone. So I am just calling whatever clone implementation is there in object class. So what is there? Super dot clone. So it's calling super class clone method. Okay. So nothing you have to do. You have to write like this. I have to call this super dot clone. So super means whoever the parent, who is the parent? Clonable and object. So it's calling object class clone method. Okay. Fine. No issue till here. Okay. Let me create a obj equal to new a. Let me pass this 34. Clear? Okay. Now a obj clone equal to. Now I want to create a clone. So obj dot. What I will do? I will call this clone method. Right? Okay. What it's saying? Add exception signature. What it's saying now? Okay. Because why I have to cast? Because it's returning object, so we have to cast it super to upper to lower type, right? This is the way we can cast, right? Downcasting, remember? Okay. So now let me override here or two strings so that when we print, we come to know that exactly what is happening, right? What value we are having. So generate two string. Clear? Okay. So now I have two object, real object and clone object. Let me print this too. And let me have a real object. So plus obj and then system.out.println clone object is equal to obj c. Okay. So now let me print this one. See, both printed 34, which is clear, and both are unique. They are not pointing to the same object. So how will validate? So let me print hash code as well. So if hash code is unique, means both are different object, right? It's not pointing to the same. Clear? Let me print this one. Here both are different. Okay, let me do one thing. So we'll change, let's assume object C will change the value. Okay, so now object C will change the value here. Okay, let me do after printing it. Okay, obj C will change the value equal to 45. So initially, so what will happen? We'll see. So as per logic, as per cloning concept, it should not the like A should have 34 and C cloned object should have 45. So we'll see. This is clear, right? Clear to you all? This one?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, it's clear.
Okay. So now this is a default implementation. This is called shallow cloning. But there is a issue with shallow cloning. So that is the reason we have to learn deep cloning. So right now we know how to do shallow cloning, which is pretty straightforward. There is no issue, seems like pretty clear and all, but there is a small issue. So right now, if you see class A having primitive data type as a member, right? So in that case, shallow cloning work fine. Okay. Now what I will do, B, I will make B as a member of A. Okay. So B obj equal to B obj equal to, let us assume no, nothing, no, I just given B obj, and then what I will do, I will just generate a constructor with these two. Okay. Now I have generated constructor, so I have to generate this also. Clone will be remain same. Okay. You guys are not getting confused, right? Okay. Now see, the clone method is same. Everything is same. Only thing, initially I was having only one property, which is primitive type. Now I added B obj, right? And we'll see what happened now. So now B obj. So let me create. Okay, let it be here. I will just comment this out. Otherwise, let it be here as it is. It will not make any impact. Okay, otherwise, let me comment this out. Better to. You guys can uncomment and then you can do practice. Okay. So now I want to create this object, right? So for that I need B, object of B as well. So let me create object of B, B obj equal to new B. So new B, what it's need a which value? It's need a string value, right? First I have to create a B object. So the name is Avinav, right? And then we'll create A object and I'll pass obj B. Clear? So what I'm doing, it's pretty straightforward how we're doing on top, right? So I created object of A and I cloned that one, right? Now see, value is 34, which is clear, right? And then inside the B, we are just printing this, right? Because let me override. See, so what is happening? Like it's easily cloned, right? It's having a these two are both are different object, right? Clear? Till now clear, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what I did here, I make inside this class A, I have taken primitive data type and reference data type. So when I take reference data type, when I create right here, now what I will do, this obj which is cloned, right? Clone. So I will go to clone object, clone C. Now what I will do, you guys have to focus on that part. So I will go to that object, then name, and then I will make Rahul. So I did object C, which is a clone copy, right? This is a clone copy, right? This is a clone of what? This is a clone of obj.
Object. Yeah.
Now the name where Avinav, right? So I first what I did, I clone and then I change the name in the clone object, right? In real object, still name is Avinav, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now what I will do, I will print and I will see if anything changed or not. Okay. So now you guys able to see that. So now,
Okay. The real value also getting changed.
yes. So this is a shallow cloning. So inside the shallow cloning is the default implementation. Okay, this one. So I have not write any code here, right? This is I'm going with the default super.clone means whatever implementation there in super class, I'm just calling that one, right? So if you go with the default implementation for clone method in shallow cloning, it will only do cloning for primitive. It will only do a proper cloning for primitive. Any reference type is there. What it will do? It will just point out to, or both the objects will point out to the same reference type. Clear? We'll see in the example. Okay. So now we'll see the code of shallow. I will demonstrate you with the example. Okay. And you guys will get a clear idea on that. Okay. So it's visible.
Yes.
Your notepad is visible, yes.
Yeah, notepad. So now we have seen the code. So we'll just understand in 9 minutes left. We'll just understand shallow cloning. Tomorrow we'll learn deep cloning in detail. Okay. So now right now we are in shallow cloning. Okay. So we have seen in the example. First we'll discuss about that example that already we have seen. Okay. So there is a two class A and the another class is B, right? B is having name A is having val, right? So now what I did, I created object of A. So there are two objects, obj real and obj clone, right? So obj real, as you see, like both are having a different hash code, means both are separate object. One second, let me draw it properly. Twice. Obj real and obj clone, right? So now obj real is pointed to this one, which have two values, right? The first one is value, which is 34, right? And then we are having a reference variable, which is called object type, where is name, right? So basically what happened, it's point like this. This is B ka object, which is what is the name of that? Obj, right? Which hold the value Abhinav. And this here, the what we call the class name is B reference. So here is address 4567, right? Just take any address, right? And when we clone this real, right? So what happened with reference type? So for primitive data type, it will create a separate copy, which is of 32. But for reference data type, what it will do, it will be like B, okay, and then it have B, or you can say that object. Here you say that object, and 4567. It's point to this one. And what is this name? This is not obj. What is this name? Property name is name, which hold Avino, right? Right? Clear? So this is when we perform a default shallow cloning, when your class hold a reference data type as a property. So in that case, what happen? It will only clone, it will only do a proper cloning for primitive data type. For reference data type, it will just point to the address. In that case, if this one change the value of to Rahul, it will get changed here, and it will get impacted to object real and as well as object clone. But if object real change this 34 to 35, then object C will not get impacted because it's a separate copy, so no impact. Here they are pointed to the same memory address, so that is the reason it is getting impacted. So basically what happened, we'll get the two separate copies with primitive data. If any reference data is there, it will be like reference data address, we will point out, reference data address will point out. If somehow we will change this reference values or content, it will get reflected to both, right? Both the object real and object clone. Clear to you all? So this is shallow cloning. Any question?
No, Abhinav.
No.
Either you guys have understand, either there is a issue. Okay.
No, so far it's okay. It's
Yeah, I understood.
understandable. Yeah.
Okay. Because shallow cloning is pretty straightforward. Deep cloning is a bit complex. So anyhow, like tomorrow we'll learn deep cloning. Okay. So right now 3 minutes is there. So I will just go through what is shallow cloning is. So shallow cloning is the default implementation. Okay. Which you will find in java.lang.object class. Uh, Inside that, inside the object class, we'll have a clone method. Okay. This type of cloning, what happen, like current object. Let us assume if you want to just any object, you just call dot clone method. If it's clonable, by default it will get cloned. Okay, like already I demonstrated. Let's assume, as I said, let's assume in shallow cloning what happen. If your class, right, contain any reference type, right, that reference type will not get cloned, as I demonstrated, right? It will point to the same memory address, and if any change happen to that reference values, it will get reflected to all your cloned object, right? Clear? So it's pretty straightforward. And if someone want, okay, in shallow, what is the implementation in shallow cloning? So we'll just write down. We'll just write down this protected object clone, and then here we have throws. Might be you're not able to understand these throws and clone not supported, but after 10 class you will able to understand this exception and all. Will cover this. Delivery started, and you just have to write return super dot clone. So I'm just saying whatever clone implementation, just calling it. So remember, in next test, if I ask, can you write a shallow cloning program? So you have to do this program, right? In similar fashion, you will do that. Okay, because you guys are not asking any question, I'm assuming that you are understanding very well. Okay. If not, you have to inform me, because if you inform me, definitely I will explain in better way. If you're not informing, you are not understanding, then you are wasting your time and as well as my time. So clear shallow cloning. If I ask you guys to write a shallow cloning, you can write it, all of you, right? So on this Saturday, I will ask you this question. Okay, you guys have to write the code. Okay, then we will have a class tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow we'll learn deep cloning, and then after that, string buffer, string builder. We'll finish in 2 class, everything related to string. Okay, then I think memory management, JVM, and then we'll move to exception handling and all. So very soon we are going to learn about collections and all. So we'll finish it off like this second part, like threading will take some time. Other than that, no other chapter will take much time. Okay.
Hi, Abhinav. Tomorrow I won't be able to join actually, but I'll come after that. 26, 27 I can come, but tomorrow I won't be able to come
Okay, fine, no issue.
online.
So whoever join,
Yeah.
join. We'll have a recording for that. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah.
Okay then. Thank you everyone. We'll connect again.